I was deep inside the guts of Server Rack 4, inhaling the comforting scent of ozone and dust bunnies when the summons came. It was not an email. It was a nervous intern named Felix Cruz, telling me that the acting chief executive officer wanted to see me in the fishbowl. That is what we call the glass-walled conference room where careers go to die. I wiped the thermal paste off my hands onto my jeans and headed upstairs. Before I tell you how I turned a global logistics giant into a useless brick, hit that subscribe button and smash the like. It helps the algorithm almost as much as high-quality scotch helps my patience. Anyway, back to the execution. I walked into the fishbowl. The air conditioning was set to meat locker levels, probably to keep the reptilian executives from overheating. Sitting in the chief executive's chair, my boss's chair, was his son, Chad Jennings. Chad looks like a frat boy with a $300 haircut and teeth so white they threaten to blind pilots. Next to him was a guy I had never seen before wearing a hoodie that probably cost more than my first truck, tapping away on a tablet like he was hacking the Pentagon. Spoiler alert, he was probably playing a mobile puzzle game. "Nicholas," Chad said, not looking up from his phone. "Thanks for coming up. Take a seat." I did not sit. I have been working at this company since Chad was struggling with the concept of potty training. I have survived 3 mergers, a ransomware attack, and the great server room coolant leak of 2018. I do not sit for junior varsity. "What is up, Chad?" "The network is green, the backups are verified, and unless you are about to tell me the building is on fire, I have a major database migration to finish." Chad finally looked up. He gave me that pitying smile, the kind you give a dog right before you drive it to the farm upstate. "Yeah, about that. We are making some changes, strategic pivots. We are moving to a cloud-native synergy-focused infrastructure." I blinked. "Chad, those are buzzwords. They do not mean anything. Our infrastructure is already hybrid cloud. I built it." "Right," he said, waving his hand dismissively. "But it is clunky and old school, just like you. We need fresh eyes. This is Hunter Finch." He gestured to the hoodie guy. "Hunter is a visionary. He is going to be taking over as Chief Technology Officer effective immediately." The silence that followed was loud. "Chief Technology Officer, Chad? I report directly to the Chief Executive." "Your dad, where is he?" "Dad is on a flight to Tokyo," Chad sneered. "He put me in charge of operations while he is gone, and my first operation is trimming the fat. You are out, Nicholas." It hit me like a physical blow. 15 years of 3 o'clock in the morning alarms, of missing birthdays because a database corrupted, of babysitting ancient servers. And I was being replaced by a guy named Hunter Finch, who looked like he vaped custard-flavored poison. "You are firing me," I said, my voice dangerously low. "For him?" "We are letting you go," Chad corrected, flashing a smile that was all veneers and no soul. "Severance is standard, but we need your key card and your admin credentials now." Hunter Finch finally spoke up. "Yeah, if you could just write down the root passwords on a sticky note, that would be chill." A sticky note. He wanted the keys to a global logistics infrastructure on a sticky note. The rage started in my toes. It burned hot and fast, scorching its way up my spine, but on the surface, I was ice. I let out a breath that smelled like stale office coffee and the cigarette I had smoked in the parking lot an hour ago. "Okay," I said. Chad looked surprised. "Okay, sure. You want the keys, you got them." I pulled out my phone. I opened the custom administrator application, one I wrote myself because the vendor software was garbage. I tapped log out. Then I looked Chad dead in the eye. "I am logging out of the master control console, but you should know something before I walk out that door." Chad rolled his eyes. "Make it quick, Nicholas. We have a synergy meeting." "The system," I said, my voice steady as a flatline, "is built on a dead man's switch. It requires a biometric handshake, my thumbprint, every 120 minutes to verify system integrity. It is a fail-safe I installed after the breach in 2021. Your dad authorized it." Chad laughed. It was a wet, ugly sound. "A biometric handshake? What is this, a spy movie? Get real." "It is not a movie, Chad. It is a federal compliance requirement. Without my scan, the validation protocols will fail. When they fail, the system assumes a hostile takeover. It locks down everything. We will just bypass it," Hunter Finch said, not looking up from his tablet. "I know Python." "You know Python?" I almost laughed. "Kid, this system is written in a mix of legacy database management languages and assembly scripts. Python will not save you. You have exactly 2 hours before the servers go dark. And when I say dark, I do not mean the lights go out. I mean the databases encrypt themselves, the vendor application interfaces sever connections, and the warehouse cargo robots freeze in place. Chad stood up, trying to loom over me. He failed. You are bluffing. You are just trying to scare us so we keep you on the payroll. Hand over the laptop and get out. Security will escort you. I placed my company laptop gently on the table. I set my badge on top of it. I looked at the clock on the wall. 10 o'clock in the morning exactly. "Tick-tock, Chad," I said. "You have got until noon. Good luck with the synergy." I turned on my heel and walked out. I did not slam the door. I did not scream. I just walked. But in my head, I was lighting a match and tossing it over my shoulder. The fuse was lit. Now I just had to wait for the boom. The walk to the elevator felt like a funeral procession of one. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, a sound I usually tuned out, but today it sounded like a choir of dying insects. People nodded at me as I passed the cubicle farms. Toby Ward from Systems Support waved. He did not know. Nobody knew yet that the captain had just been thrown overboard and the ship was being steered by a couple of toddlers on a sugar high. I stepped into the elevator and pressed the ground floor button. As the doors slid shut, cutting off the view of the office I had practically lived in for a decade and a half, I felt a strange sensation in my chest. It was not panic, it was lightness. The weight of the servers, the constant low-level anxiety about uptime, the 24 hours a day on-call status, it was gone. I walked out into the parking lot. The sky was that flat, non-committal gray it loves so much. I leaned against my truck, a beat-up Ford that had seen more mileage than a politician's promise, and fumbled for my pack. I lit a cigarette. The smoke hit my lungs like an old friend. I inhaled deep, holding it until my vision swam a little, then exhaled a plume of gray into the gray air. 2 hours, I whispered to the asphalt. Upstairs, in the climate-controlled fishbowl, I knew exactly what was happening. Chad was probably high-fiving Hunter Finch. They were probably talking about how easy it was to clear out the deadwood. "Nicholas is just bitter," Chad would say, spinning in the chief executive's chair. "Biometric handshake, please." "Who does he think he is? The government?" Hunter Finch would be inspecting my laptop. "Dude, this thing is a brick. It is a laptop from like 4 years ago. How did he even work on this? I am going to order us some modern workstations. We need the high-resolution displays for the dashboard." "Do it," Chad would say. "Company card, we are upgrading everything." They would not even try to log in for another 20 minutes. They would be too busy planning their office decor or ordering craft drinks for the break room. But the system does not care about fancy drinks. The system is a cold mathematical beast. At 10:15 in the morning, the first scheduled task would attempt to run. It is a simple script, a heartbeat check, that pings the external partner gateways just to say, "Hey, we are still here." I imagine the code executing. Line 402, check authorization token. Line 403, verify biometric timestamp. The timestamp would be old. The system would frown, metaphorically speaking. It would not panic yet. It would flag a soft warning, a little yellow light on the main dashboard. But Chad and Hunter Finch were not looking at the main dashboard. They were probably looking at expensive sneaker drops on their phones. I finished my cigarette and ground the butt into the pavement with the heel of my boot. I was not going home, not yet. I had a front row seat to the apocalypse, and I was not going to miss the opening act. There is a quiet dive bar across the street called the Library. It smells like sawdust and regrets. Perfect. I walked in, ordered a whiskey neat, and set my personal phone on the wooden bar counter. I have a secondary notification system set up, a shadow relay that pings my personal device whenever the main server throws a critical error. I built it years ago so I could know about fires before the help desk even picked up the phone. I had not disconnected it. Why would I? It was about to be the best entertainment in town. At 10:45 in the morning, my phone buzzed. Notification: user administrator failed login attempt, internet protocol address, internal executive suite. I smirked into my glass. "We are trying to get in." "Hey," Hunter Finch would be saying, tapping the keyboard with his sticky fingers. Chad, it is not letting me in. It says access denied, guarantor key missing. Try password 123, Chad would suggest, because he is an idiot. I tried that. I tried admin. I tried root. It is locked, dude. Call IT support, Chad would snap. Tell them to reset the password. I took a sip of whiskey. The burn was pleasant. IT support was Toby Ward. Toby is a good kid, but I trained him to never ever touch the root directory without my written sign-off. My phone buzzed again. Notification. Ticket hash 9942 created. Subject. Cannot log in, fix now. Priority low. Toby Ward knew. He knew that if the request came from Chad and did not copy me, it went to the bottom of the pile. He is not going to touch it, I muttered to the bartender who was wiping a glass with a dirty rag. Excuse me? The bartender asked. Just watching a train wreck, I said. Hit me again. The countdown was at 90 minutes. The heartbeat check had failed. The system was now moving from curious to suspicious. Next stop, paranoid. And trust me, you do not want a multi-million-dollar logistics network to get paranoid. It starts shutting doors you did not even know were open. The whiskey was settling in, warming the cold knot of anger in my stomach. The bar was empty except for me and an old man in the corner playing a slot machine that sounded like a depressed carnival. My phone buzzed, 11:10 in the morning. Notification system alert. Load balancing failure. Node 4 unresponsive. Here we go. See, the way I built the infrastructure is like a house of cards, but glued together with very specific, very neurotic logic. The load balancer distributes traffic between our servers in Virginia and the backup site. Every hour it asks for permission to rotate the encryption keys. If it does not get the biometric handshake, it assumes the connection is compromised. It does not just stop, it protects itself. It starts cutting bridges. In the office, the lights would still be on. The coffee machine would still be working. But on the monitors in the logistics department, screens were starting to freeze. I could picture Clara Miller in Dispatch. She has been there 15 years. She types with 2 fingers, but she can route a fleet of cargo trucks across a blizzard with her eyes closed. She would be hitting refresh right now. Why is the tracking spinning? She would yell over the cubicle wall. Mine too. Alan Peters from inventory would answer. I cannot pull the manifest for the Chicago shipment. It says awaiting guarantor verification. Up in the fishbowl, Chad and Hunter Finch were probably starting to sweat, just a light sheen on their foreheads. My phone buzzed again, a text message from Toby Ward in IT. Toby, hey, boss, strange request from the prince. He is screaming about passwords, says you quit. Please tell me that is a joke. Also, dashboard is flashing yellow. What is going on? I did not reply. Not yet. Let them marinate. 10 minutes later, at 11:20 in the morning, the text was not from Toby this time. It was from an unknown number, but I knew who it was. Unknown. Hey Nicholas, it is Chad. Hope no hard feelings. Listen, quick question. Hunter is having a little trouble syncing his credentials. Does the system really need your scan, or is there like a master code? Just need to push a small update. Thanks. Quick question. Small update. The language of the incompetent. I stared at the screen. I could hear his voice, that condescending, breezy tone that assumed the world existed to serve him. He thought this was a glitch. He thought I had put a password on a Word document. He did not understand that he was sitting inside a submarine and he had just opened the screen door. I typed back. Me. Not a code. It is biometric. 40 minutes left, Chad. I put the phone down. 11:30 in the morning. The notifications on my Shadow app were coming in faster now, scrolling up the screen like cascading code. Critical database lock initiated. Critical application interface timeout. Warning. External shipping connection severed. Warning. External logistics connection severed. That was the big one. We are a logistics company. If we cannot talk to the shippers, we are not moving boxes. We are just a warehouse full of expensive junk. I closed my eyes and imagined the sound on the floor. The phones would be ringing now, customers asking where their tracking numbers were, drivers calling in from the road because their tablets had gone dead. The hum of the servers in the basement would be changing pitch, the fans spinning up to maximum speed as the processors tried to resolve the deadlock, getting hotter and hotter, screaming into the void for a key that was not there. My phone rang. It was Chad. I let it ring. It rang again and again. I picked up on the 4th try. Hello? I sounded bored. I sounded like I was browsing for a documentary about cheese. Nicholas, Chad's voice was an octave higher than usual. Pick up the phone. Why is the shipping module down? We are losing $40,000 a minute. I told you, Chad, dead man's switch. The system thinks the cockpit is empty. It is putting the plane in the ocean to keep it from being hijacked. Fix it. Give me the code. I cannot give you a fingerprint over the phone, genius. Unless you want me to fax you my thumb. This is sabotage, he screamed. I will sue you. I will have you arrested for cyber terrorism. I did not do anything, Chad. That is the point. I am doing exactly what you told me to do. I am gone. The system is working exactly as designed. It is verifying that the authorized administrator is present. You fired the authorized administrator. This is on you. Hunter says he can bypass it. He is in the command shell right now. I laughed, a genuine belly laugh. Hunter Finch is in the command shell, Chad? Tell Hunter that if he tries to force a mount on the encrypted drive without the key, the system activates the scorched earth protocol. It deletes the encryption headers. Data turns to noise forever. There was a muffled conversation on the other end. I heard Hunter's voice sounding panicked. Wait, he said scorched earth? Dude, stop typing. Stop typing, you are bluffing, Chad said, but his voice was shaking. Try me, you have 25 minutes. I hung up, the bartender poured me another shot of whiskey. Sounded intense, he said. Just walking a guy through a reboot, I said, swirling the amber liquid. The bar was starting to fill up with the lunch rush, mostly guys from the nearby construction site. Dust on their boots, exhaustion in their eyes. My phone was vibrating constantly. 11:40 in the morning. The internal chat threads were leaking. I am still in the group chat for the night shift survivors. Clara Miller. Anyone seen Nicholas? Chad is running around the floor screaming at the servers. Alan Peters. Toby says he got fired. Is that true? Who knows how to fix the legacy bridge? Toby Ward. I am hiding in the server closet. Hunter Finch just asked me what a Linux distribution is. We are doomed. I smiled. They were panicking about the incompetence. I knew Chad's next move. He would be frantically dialing the chief executive's private number. Dad, the computers are doing the thing. But the chief executive, Walter Jennings, is a man of rigid habits. When he flies international, he flies completely disconnected. No internet, no phone. He reads espionage novels and sleeps. He was currently somewhere over the Pacific Ocean, cruising at 35,000 feet, blissfully unaware that his son was lighting his 15-year legacy on fire. 11:45 in the morning. Chad called me again. I ignored it, then a new number called. This is Nicholas, I answered. Mr. Barlow, this is Matthew Geller from Integra Solutions Support. Look, we just got a Priority 1 emergency ticket from a guy named Chad. He is demanding we remote in and disable the biometric lock. He says he is the acting chief executive. He is, I said technically. Okay, well, he is screaming. But here is the thing. I am looking at the compliance documentation you filed in 2021, the Guarantor Protocol. It says explicitly that any attempt to override the biometric lock remotely is a violation of the Federal Data Privacy Agreement. If we force this, we trigger an immediate federal audit under the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, specifically Title 42, United States Code, Section 1320D-6. I took a slow sip of whiskey. That sounds accurate, Matthew. Section 12, Clause 1? Right, so I cannot do it. I literally cannot do it without losing my certification and probably facing charges. I tried to explain this to him. He told me I was fired too. Sounds like him. Nicholas, what do you want me to do? The system is cascading. We are seeing packet loss in the 80% range. The warehouses are going dark. Do nothing, Matthew. Follow the protocol. If you intervene, you are liable. Let it ride. He cannot sue you for following the compliance laws. Just document everything. Record the calls. Already doing it. Good luck, Nicholas. I hung up. 11:50 in the morning. 10 minutes left. The complication for Chad was the web of legal and bureaucratic armor I had built around that technology. He thought he was fighting a computer program. He did not realize he was fighting the entire United States legal code regarding data privacy. The text came through from Toby Ward again. Toby, Chad is crying. He is in the fishbowl, banging on the glass. Hunter Finch is sitting on the floor with his head in his hands. The lights in the hallway just flickered. Me, energy load setting. The system is cutting power to non-essential circuits to preserve the core memory. Tell everyone to save their work locally. Toby, you are scary. I was not scary. I was just thorough. 11:55 in the morning. 5 minutes to noon. My phone rang. It was Chad again, I answered. Nicholas, his voice was quiet, defeated. I am sorry, okay? Just come back. Come back and fix it. We can talk about a contract, consultant basis. Consultant basis, I repeated. You fire me after 15 years, humiliate me, and now you want to hire me back as a consultant? I cannot restart the system, Nicholas. The contractors will not touch it. Go to my desk, Chad. Is my laptop still there? Yes. Open it. You can access the public read-only folder from the guest account. Go to the folder marked Doomsday. Open the document titled Compliance Protocols. Go to page 42. Section 12, Clause 1. Read the highlighted paragraph. In the event of a system-wide reset, he read, his voice trembling, the primary system guarantor, that is Nicholas Barlow, must be physically present. Failure to provide biometric verification constitutes a breach of the Federal Data Protection Act Level 4. Keep reading, Chad. Any attempt to bypass this authentication will result in an automatic notification to the Department of Homeland Security, Cyber Division, and an immediate freeze of all company assets. Silence. You rigged the system to call the feds? I did not rig it, Chad. I secured it. That protocol protects us from hackers. If Hunter Finch tries to force it, you are a felon. You will be trading that designer suit for an orange jumpsuit. What do I do? He whispered. You cannot do anything. You have less than 2 minutes. If I am not there to scan my thumb, the system assumes you are a hostile actor. It shuts down. The databases are locked. The keys are deleted. The company goes dark. Come back, he begged. Name your price. Double your salary. Triple it. It is an 8-minute drive from the bar to the office, Chad. Even if I left right now, I would not make it. Nicholas, wait. I hung up. 11:59. I watched the second hand on the analog clock. Tick, tick, tick. At noon exactly, the lights in the bar did not flicker. But on my phone screen, the waterfall of notifications stopped. It froze. Red text on a black background. System status. Lockdown initiated. Assets frozen. Report filed. Boom, I whispered. I signaled the bartender. I will close my tab. I have a feeling I am going to have company soon. When the lockdown hit at noon, the smart building became a stupid prison. The electronic locks engaged, and the smart glass windows tinted dark, while the air conditioning shut off, leaving the office in shadow. Toby Ward reported that Chad was screaming in the dark, and the warehouse robots had stopped dead. A warehouse manager reported that trucks were backed up and pallets were stuck due to a database exception. Then, Hunter Finch panicked. He threw his tablet down, yelled that he was not going to jail, and ran down the 12 flights of stairs because the elevator was disabled. Chad was alone in the dark. My phone buzzed with an alert. Walter Jennings's flight had priority landed. My phone rang. Nicholas. Walter Jennings's gravelly voice barked. I am looking at a dashboard showing a dead company, a Homeland Security alert, and 40 missed calls from my son. Sounds stressful, sir. Chad says you hacked us, Barlow. Chad lies, sir. I was fired and logged out. The system is just waiting for the authorized guarantor. The lock is working as designed. He fired you? Yes, to hire a kid who thinks Python is a snake. I honored the chain of command, sir. Chad was alls in charge, and he put me on the street. He grunted. I am landing in 40 minutes. Get back to the office. I do not work there, sir. If you want this fixed, it will not be cheap. Meet me in 40 minutes. The line went dead. I drove back slowly, letting them sweat. The building was dark. I parked and waited. Walter Jennings's town car screeched in, hopping the curb. He stepped out in a tracksuit, spotted me, and motioned for me to follow. We entered. In the locked lobby, Jennings kicked a turnstile until the mechanism snapped. It works now, he growled. We took the stairs, 12 flights. When we reached the executive floor, Chad was sitting in the fishbowl with his head on the table, surrounded by empty water bottles. Jennings threw the door open, slamming it against the glass. Chad jumped. Dad, thank God. Nicholas sabotaged us. Jennings looked at his son. Sabotage? Yes, he put a bomb in the code. I see. Jennings picked up my laptop. And why did he do that? Because we were making strategic shifts. I fired him, I said from the doorway. Chad fired me at 10 o'clock for being old school. Jennings turned to Chad. You fired the system's guarantor while I was over the ocean? He is dead weight, Dad. Jennings looked around. Where is this Hunter Finch? He ran, I clarified. He realized he could not hack a mainframe and fled before the feds showed up. Jennings looked at Chad with disappointment. Chad, do you know why I pay Nicholas more than the vice president of sales? Because Nicholas built the architecture that allows us to bypass customs. He is the only reason we are a secure logistics partner. He slammed his hand on the table. You did not just fire an employee. You unplugged the life support machine because you wanted to charge your phone. Jennings turned to me. Fix it, I cannot, sir. I am not an employee. Rehire him, Chad. Rehire him now. Chad looked at me, face red and wet. Nicholas, I am rehiring you. Sorry, I said. I am not interested. The culture seems toxic. Jennings let out a short laugh. All right, Barlow, you win. What do you want? Full autonomy, a 5-year contract guaranteed, and a 20% raise retroactive to the beginning of the fiscal year. Done, Jennings said. And I want Chad's corner office. Jennings looked at his son. Get your stuff, Chad. Chad stood up, grabbed his jacket, and shuffled out like a beaten dog. Jennings looked at me. Are we good? We are good. Then turned the lights back on. The walk to the server room was a coronation. The IT bullpen cheered. Toby Ward fell in step. Bad news, boss. Core temp is critical. You have corruption in the index tables, and the biometric lock is in hard lock mode. Of course it is. I wrote it that way. We reached the server room door. The keypad was dark. We might have to drill the lock, Toby said. I scoffed. Toby, look under the fake fire extinguisher box. A physical key. Analog backups, Toby. I turned the key, pushed the door open, and entered the hot room. The status lights were flashing red. I sat in my ergonomic chair. Okay, said. The master is home. Toby stood behind me. What do we do? No reboot, I said. We need a live resuscitation. I woke the monitor. A red prompt read, remaining time until data purge 000130. 1 minute 30? Toby whispered. Scorched earth, I said. I pressed my thumb to the scanner. It flashed green. The red text vanished. Biometric match confirmed, restoring systems. The AC kicked back on, and the status lights turned green down the rows. Database mounted, API gateways connected. My phone buzzed, shippers active. We are green across the board. I typed a few commands, smoothing the load. Upstairs, the warehouse robots woke up. I leaned back. Good job, Toby. Tell the floor we are operational. He ran out. I pulled up the camera feed. I saw Chad walking out the front door carrying a cardboard box. Synergy, I whispered. I switched to my new office. Jennings was looking into the camera. He gave a curt nod. I nodded back. I opened my drawer, poured a splash of bourbon into my mug, and took a sip. The system hummed. Order was restored. I was the ghost in the machine, and today the ghost won. I typed to the group chat. System clear. Do not touch my settings again. I put my feet up and watched the green lights blink. We are all healed, especially my bank account. Big thanks for watching, you sneaky seniors. Subscribe to keep the coffee pot brewing revenge.